Hello, and welcome to another edition of Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. I am John Schaefer, and today we are continuing the Leviathan hunt scenario that comes packaged with the Trident class assault ship. So in the last stream on last Friday, I ran through the first part of Leviathan hunt, in which you are combing the entire battlefield trying to find clues as to its location, and then it is spawned later on, and then you have to have a desperate battle against it as it maneuvers around the table utilizing a AI-based activation deck. Things did not go swimmingly, I would say, in the first one. Poor Asajj Ventress was destroyed relatively early on through some very bad dice rolls and a lot of blanks, and then also by being overlapped by the Trident itself when it performed a speed 5 maneuver, thus causing 5 damage to it, and also to Lima Kai, who is our Y-Wing pilot right here. So as a general kind of like status of the current board, where we're at right now, we'll kind of run it down. So right now, this is the Mining Guild Surveyor in my list. It is currently has the aggression marker, which means it's the focus of the Trident's attacks. That could change over the course of the game if another one of my ships deals a face-up damage card to the Trident. That aggression marker then shifts to that ship. That point of reference is used for the AI-based deck in order for the Trident to know where it needs to maneuver and what it needs to do. This ship has no damage on it whatsoever and still 2 charges left on its afterburners, so it's still in pretty good shape. Right now it is pretty much just circling around the board and I guess kind of like leading the Trident around while these other 2 ships try to put some damage on it. Over here is Lima Kai, who is kind of set up to be my main striker for this list to deal the most damage. Unfortunately, Lima Kai is not in the best state of health, with only 2 hull remaining and only 1 charge left on those proton torpedoes, so hopefully I can get those to bear and deal some more damage to the Trident here coming up. And lastly, we have Ahab here in the back, who has been an all-star in the game thus far, utilizing his pilot ability to roll extra dice on defense and attacks. Also has Predator in there to re-roll dice when the Trident is in its bullseye arc. So that's where I'm at right now with my ships. The Trident itself has suffered 5 hull damage out of its total of 10, so it still has 5 hull remaining. I did manage to deactivate its tractor tentacles, so that attack is no longer online until it gets repaired in a later turn, but it still has a drill beak in the rear, and it has its native primary attack out the front, which is 3 dice. So yeah, that is currently the state of where things are at. I need to destroy this Trident in order to win. If at any point my ships are all destroyed, the Trident wins, and I am most sad. So that is where we're at currently. One bit of bookkeeping to mention to you all is that in my hurry to get this set up last week, I kind of told you all an incorrect way of resolving the K-turn on the Trident itself. I had forgotten that when measuring distance for all huge ships, you go from the center line here as opposed to the front of the ship. Just a simple mistake on my part. So when actually executing a 4K maneuver, you would line up the 0 marker here on the midline of the ship, take the entire ship, pick it up, flip it back around, and then put it at the 4 point. So in order just to illustrate that, I'll put some markers here where the ship is currently so I can bring it back. So that 4K turn would look similar to this when it maneuvers, which makes the Trident very, very nasty when it comes to being able to reposition itself to bring those tentacles to bear on its opponent. And coupled with some of the extra maneuvers that the Trident has, which are shown on the dial there on the screen, with a 2 reverse, 1 reverse, etc., certainly can get the enemy into arc a little bit more readily to bring those rear arc attacks to bear. So I think that's largely it where we're at. So I think that we are about ready to get started again. So let me just place the Trident back here where it was. Right. Work. And I can go back to dials and start plotting out the next maneuvers for the rest of the turn. So let me take a look at my dials here, decide on what I want to do, and check the chat, see if there's anything and general questions that I can answer right now in regards to the Trident. Oh, I left this set up for the entire, well, since last Friday. So I've just been in passing. It's kind of set up here in my home office area. I've been staring at this thing and thinking about it. So it's a bit of an unfair advantage, I suppose, thinking about what I'm going to be doing for my next maneuvers. And I think I have it pretty well planned out, but it's hard to really anticipate what the Trident is going to do, just like a real opponent with this deck. Though the overall options are limited, it still could go any direction and do anything. So I'm going to try my best to stay out of its front and its rear arcs, because that is where the danger lies for sure. So, any other general questions here? Cool. All right. Well, I think that largely covers it. I'll be checking back in on chat periodically, seeing if I can answer any general questions about it. I don't know how long the stream is going to go necessarily. Things could go very well or very poorly for me, and it could end a little bit early. If that's the case, then I'll spend a little bit extra time answering some general questions about some X-Wing stuff, and then we might just call it a little bit early this week. So, just as a reminder, we are also streaming every Tuesday through Friday. We'll be back tomorrow with Marvel Crisis Protocol, and then this Friday is going to be a Gathering Forces gameplay from the forces that we built in May. I believe that Dallas Kemp and Michael Plummer are going to be squaring off in a 500-point skirmish game of Star Wars Legion. And then I believe tomorrow is a gameplay stream for Marvel Crisis Protocol. I think it's X-Force versus the Brotherhood, I believe, is what's going on there. So at any rate, so that is what's coming up. As a general reminder, the Trident is going to release next Friday on June 25th. So if you haven't gotten your pre-orders in yet or secured your own copy, make sure to do so before it is too late. Alrighty. So anyway, back to Dial. So let's talk a little bit about what I'm thinking here. So the safe place against the Trident is in this side arc, wherever I can be. So I want to try to remain in that side arc wherever possible. For Ahab, I think his only real option is probably either to just go flat out straight, but I think I'm just going to go for a 3K here. Try to have him wind up over on this side, and then hopefully can still deal a lot of damage. We'll kind of see exactly where all that's going to wind up. For Lima Kai, just want to have her probably advance in a little bit. I'm just going to do a 1 bank off to the side. Hopefully that'll have her wind up right about here and then be in a good spot outside of the arcs. We'll see how that goes. And then lastly, I have got this Mining Guild Surveyor, who I think is also just going to flip around and do a 3K as well, just to put him out here a little bit further away. If the Trident kind of turns or goes some other direction, maybe get some bonuses from this debris cloud here and be in a good defensive position. So I think that is what I'm going to wind up doing. So let's go ahead and make those maneuvers. So I'm going to need a 3 straight here first for this Mining Guild Surveyor. We'll go to there. We'll get a stress for that red maneuver as he executes it. And now I guess I have the decision now if I want to utilize my afterburners to get close again. Why not? Yeah, let's do it. Let's try to get back in there a little bit. So I'm just going to boost forward 1. Right there. Also my Lima Kai there a little bit. And that will do that. That's going to take up one of my charges on afterburners. Surveyor, that seems fine. Next we've got Ahab over here on this side. I'll line this up as well as I can to this point. Around like so. We'll also get a stress in there, but I think for now, I will not perform a boost action because I think it's just going to probably bump or put me in a spot where I'm going to be out of arc. And then lastly, I've got Lima Kai, who is going to do a 1 bank over to the side here. That position there, and her action will be to, I think, to focus. And I'm outside of the front arc of that, so I can also get a lock there. Great, from her pilot ability. So definitely a good spot there. And now to see what the Trident does. I think I'm in a pretty good spot if it decides that it wants to surge forward or go backwards. I think that I will be all right. Oh yeah. Last week I did in fact confirm that the Trident is going to be 90 points, and that the tracking torpedoes were 8 points. And then I can also answer some general questions about points, costs, and stuff after the stream if we have some time. All right, cool. So let's see what this Trident does. I'm going to flip over this card, and then I will bring it up on screen. I have flipped over Aggressive Sweep. So let's see what that card does. There it is, Aggressive Sweep. If the ship with the aggression marker is in the Trident side arc to the left, it executes a white bank to the left. If the ship is in the right side, it does a right 3 bank to that side. Otherwise, the Trident executes a white 4 straight, then assigns the aggression marker to the nearest ship. Okay, Then its actions are going to be a calculate action and then a lock action on the ship with the aggression marker, which it currently already has. Just as a reminder, when the Trident is attacking, it will always prioritize attacks against whatever ship has the aggression marker on it. And it automatically changes any focus results to hit results, I believe. Or it might even be worse than that. It might even be crit results. Let me confirm that one. Nope, just a hit results, so not quite as punitive. Okay, so it is going to do a 3 bank in the direction of the ship. So I will lock this in here, put it to that point, and then it is going to move up here to the 3 mark. Oops, this is the 3 bank right here. Okay. That doesn't seem too bad, but that did certainly get this ship out of arc. Limakai is still in a good spot. And luckily, my other ships are out of arc, so that's actually not so bad for me. And then it's going to perform 2 actions. First is a calculate action, and the second is a target lock, which it already has on that ship. So that is how that will go. Okay, so now we're going to go to some attacks here. So starting first, we've got Limakai up very close. So Lima is too close to use those proton torpedoes, but can do a main attack. Let's see what that is. It's going to be 2 dice up close, plus an extra dice for being at range 1. So let's see how this resolves. Crit and 2. Thankfully I got that focus token, so I'm going to go ahead and spend that to turn both of those. And no defense dice there, but the Trident did recover a shield last time, so that is then going to inflict 2 more damage on the ship. That's a pretty good spot to be in. 1, 2. And then I'm sorry, it's 1 face down and 1 face up. So 1 crit result is going to be okay, oops, nope, not that one. Bridge hit. Lose all charges from each of your crew upgrades. Lose all of your force charges. That's if I was in the bullseye, which I am. So yeah, not so bad. Cool. All right, up next, we've got this Mining Guild Surveyor. We'll make its attacks. That's range 2. So we'll roll 2 dice with a reroll from Predator. No focus for me, so I'll reroll this dice. That'll be 2 hits. It's pretty good. Not at a range that will be able to cancel it, so that's going to be some more damage on the Trident. So I'm actually doing pretty well here. This is not so shabby. Seems good. Okay, and then just double checking the arc that we have here. Yep, not an arc there. Okay, so I think that was a relatively easy turn for me. There's anybody within range 1 back here, which there is thankfully not. The Trident would be able to attack with its drill beak, but I do not see any of those. Okay, so it will regain 1 shield and 2 energy, taking it back up to 3, and then I will go back to Dials. Right, and remove that calculate token that it had. Let's see, any general questions here? yeah, the huge ship damage deck does come with the ship, as well as the maneuver tool, just like all of the other huge ships. So you get the huge ship damage deck itself, a few other general counters and tokens, the energy counter and everything that comes with it here that keeps track of your energy and your shields, all that sort of stuff. So all the stuff that we've historically provided with the second edition huge ships also comes with it. Okay, so back to dials. Let me see what I want to do here. Ahab has got a stress. The Mining Guild Surveyor both has a stress, so I think that I probably am going to want to just maneuver out and about. No idea what the Trident is going to do next turn, so hopefully it will be something kind. So first things first, I think I'm just going to go with a 2 straight on this Mining Guild. I'll probably still put it in its arc, but I think that I'm probably in a good spot to be able to take this thing down. Lima Kai, boy, really needs to go slow here. Try to stay out of that rear arc if at all possible. Boy, that's going to be tough. I guess I could go, and I got a debris cloud right there. I think I can only really just do like a one bank maybe. It might even be too far. Maybe I just want to go 1 straight. I'll try that. It's a little risky, but we'll see. And then finally Ahab is going to go... We'll also do a 2 bank there. Okay, so let's see how this all goes. One thing I forgot. Lima Kai did in fact inflict a face-up damage card on the Trident. That makes Lima Kai now the aggressive, or have the aggressor token on it. The Trident aggressive token. So yeah, okay, I think that's all the bookkeeping stuff that I had to do. So now we're all set. So going over here, got a 2 straight template. There we go. Okay. 2 straights right there. That'll clear the stress. Still has that on there. And I think, maybe I go barrel roll? I don't think it's going to get me out of the arc necessarily. And I'll just focus. That seems fine. Over here, we've got a 2 bank. To this point right here. That will clear the stress on Ahab. And then, if it backs up, it could be trouble. So I think I'm just going to barrel roll away here. I think I like that. So put this over here, and then I'll barrel roll out to this point. Just get a little bit further away. Hopefully to stay out of reach of that drill beak. And then Lima Kai is just going to go 1 straight. Oh no, jostle. Ugh, I'm awful. Okay, here we go. Gotta be careful. All right. Lima's template does in fact go over that debris field, so I will roll for that. Oh no! Oh boy. All right. That is not great. So that is an extra damage on Lima Kai and a stress token. Unfortunately, I thought that I would miss that, but I did in fact hit it. But Lima's in a pretty good spot, just outside of the rear arc. So I guess we'll see what the Trident does now. All right, what is it? Reposition. If the ship with, oh, let me bring it up here so you can all see it. There it is. Okay, if the ship with the aggression marker is in the Trident's side, it executes a red 0 in the opposite direction. If the ship with the aggression marker is in the right arc, the opposite. Otherwise, the Trident executes a red 4 bank. I'm sorry, red K turn. Then assigns the aggression marker to the nearest ship. Oh boy, I think that's going to be bad. I think that poor Lee Mackay is probably going to be overlapped. So this ship has the aggression marker. It's in the side arc, so that means that I perform a 0, speed 0, bank in the opposite direction here. So that will move it to there. Then I turn the ship. Yep, will displace Lee Mackay for sure. So I'll go ahead and pick up that ship. Then this is going to land here on the 0. It did overlap this debris field, so that will be another damage on it. And 1 stress, which will take off an energy. Okay. Alright, how many more damage do I need to do this thing? Alright. Not very many more. Okay, that was a speed 0 maneuver, so we'll take 0 damage, thankfully. But that does make me reposition the ship in the rear half, which is actually not so bad because I can kind of place Lima in such a way so she can't be attacked because of her small base on that side arc there. So that seems okay. The ship did gain 1 stress token, which I already took off. Oh, and we'll lose 1 more because of the red maneuver that I performed. Okay. Well, I think I'm in a pretty good spot, actually, if this guy can actually do a little bit of damage here. I think I've also just outmaneuvered the Trident, luckily, 1 more time. So let's see how this ship does. It is up close, so that is going to be 3 dice. Spin the focus. It's going to be 3 hits. And that is going to take off a shield and do 2 more damage. Which will, in fact, defeat the Trident. So I think I have done it. So I can continue to... we can run it back a little bit. I think that... just for everyone to kind of see a little bit more of the gameplay action here, because we're not very deep into the stream, I think that I will go ahead and remove some damage from the Trident. Let's remove, I don't know, 3 or 4? Let's remove 4 damage cards from it. And play some more turns with it. Just so everybody can kind of see the overall scenario. And I think that, you know, with this particular scenario, it's entirely up to you. After you play through it a few times, you could decide to add any additional upgrades that you wanted to the Trident as it goes forward. I think adding some of the titles would definitely be pretty strong. You could some of the titles actually give it extra hull, some other things that you can use. So you can kind of mix and match it and custom tailor this however you like, which is kind of the fun and enjoyable part of these kind of solo-based scenarios. You can just kind of challenge yourself to do more. If you're playing a multiplayer variant of this scenario, each player will bring, depending on the size, if there are 4 players total, they'll each bring 2 threat worth of ships. My particular list had 8 threat worth of ships to begin with, or a 199 point list is what I brought, I do believe. So let's go ahead and rewind it back. We got some extra damage back here on the Trident just to get through a few more turns and just hopefully see this thing in action to deal a little bit more damage here. So at the end of the turn, I'm going to regain 1 shield. I'm going to gain 2 energy back. And we'll go back to dials. Yeah, and now it evolves into the Trident Mark II, and the real fight begins. You could certainly do that if you wanted to. You could have it respawn. I guess one other point of note in this particular scenario is some people are like, oh, well, what happens if the Trident flies off the board? If for any reason, if the AI deck has forced the Trident to move off of the table, at the end of the end phase, you will respawn it at the remaining hyperspace point. So you just roll another dice, and then it's going to either spawn here, here, or here. If it spawns here, you put your front guides touching the front right here. If it spawns there or there, the rear guides are touching those points. So it still kind of puts it in a useful spot to be able to do some damage. Okay, cool. So back to dials. Let me see what I want to do here. I think that... Oh, Lee Mackay still has the aggression marker. Let's see where that... Can't seem to find it. I'll track it down. We'll just remember that Lima is in fact the aggressor still. So I think given that, Lima is going to utilize her tricks to do a 4K, flip back around, and then hopefully utilize her native ability plus pattern analyzer to get in the shots that she needs. Ahav down there on the end, who is pretty battered, is gonna only one hull remaining. Is going to do a 3 maneuver. Hopefully, also be able to utilize those afterburners a little bit. And this one right here is going to do a 1 turn, and hopefully just kind of get in a position right about here and be in a good spot. So let's go ahead and do that. So do the 1 turn first. One right here. Hopefully this thing might go out and around this way. I guess we'll kind of see how that's going to pan out. And I think a focus token is probably good. So that'll take care of that one. And then Ahav is going to go for a 3 turn. So here. And I'm going to go ahead and use those afterburners, I think. Ahav is not yet. We'll go ahead and boost in to get a better shot here. Hopefully at range 2. And we'll focus as well. Seems to be a good option here. And then Lima's going to go with a 4K. Out to right here. Give her a stress. And then we will go with this thing, and it is going to lunge forth. So Lima is still our has the aggression marker. So let's bring that up here so you can all see what it does. This one. This is the one that kind of got me last time. Thankfully, I have nobody in the front or the rear of this thing, so it seems to be in pretty good shape. If the ship with the aggression marker is in its front half arc, no, so it's in its rear. Or is flanking it, the Trident executes a red 2 reverse maneuver. Okay. So we'll go red 2 reverse. Line up the 0 mark here. Right here. That will give it a stress, which will take off an energy. And that just kind of brought it in here. He's in a little bit of trouble right there, but we'll see how this turn goes. So starting first with Lima Kai is outside of range 1. I could go with those proton torps. Range 2 to 3. I think now's the time to do it. Oh, I forgot to actually, whatever. It's my own fault. I forgot to get a focus token on her from the pattern analyzer. But I think that's fine. Okay, so I will go ahead and fire my proton torpedo. So I'll use my second shot here. It's going to be 4 dice. Yeah, I can totally share a lot of points cost with you all here in a second. Oh boy, I really wish that I would have kept that focus now. I have only myself to blame. So that's going to be 2. I guess I could spend that lock. Why not? Let's do it. 3 hits. That seems great. The Trident will soak up 1 via the shield and then take another 2 damage. 1, 2. None of those are crits, so I'll just deal that damage there. That one's done. Then we have Ahav. Not at range 1, but at range 2. But because of Ahab's ability, that is a larger base than what Ahab has, so that will be a 3 dice attack. I'm going to spend that focus token. That seems solid. Bam, bam. No defense there. Yeah, I think that will do it. Okay, so we stripped a ton of damage off of it, but then we just piled it right back on. So I think that I was just in a position to just really bring a lot of attacks to bear. So right here, I'll go ahead and finish out the Trident's activation. Just to roll some dice and do it. So it is at range 1 of Ahab there, or I'm sorry, of this Mining Guild Surveyor. So we'll make a 4 dice attack. It's going to be 2 hits there. And defense, cancel it out. Luck is on my side. So I have done it. I have defeated the Trident. Again, I have some general suggestions if you want to try to increase the difficulty, but I think that the scenario is super fun, really enjoyable for solo play or to play with your friends as well. I think it could be like a really fun event that you could host in a store where if you just bought your Trident, then you can just invite a bunch of your friends to kind of sit down and battle this thing over the course of several turns and kind of come up with your own unique approaches on how you do it. So let's talk a little bit about the other scenario that comes in this particular pack, which is not a solo play scenario, but is still nonetheless pretty cool. It's called Rising Tide, and in Rising Tide you have got a setup here in the corner of your Trident. How it's gone, and essentially the synopsis here, I'll go ahead and read it. In this scenario, there are 2 teams. An attacking team attempting to destroy 4 turrets, which are blue objective counters that you put on the table. And those look like these. So you will put those out on the table. Essentially, it's kind of like off in this corner, more or less, and they're kind of facing different directions. And progress across the board to try to steal vital intel markers. And the intel markers are kind of set up on. Let me see. Let me just double check where this actually gets set up. I see. Okay, cool. So before placing obstacles, the defending player places 4 turret remotes. Blue is indicated, then places 3 vital intel markers in base zone 1. And base zone 1 essentially extends from range 3 from the corner. So that would be a kind of like sweeping section like this, you know, like from this corner here, how this is set up. And I think that we'll probably try to get this scenario like up and running and actually have 2 players kind of set it up. I am only here by myself, so I won't be able to do so right now. But essentially the gist is that the ship is kind of going to advance, going across. It's going to try to take care of some of these individual markers that are kind of set up. As it does so, the enemy side can also have a huge ship as well. The defender has a total of 16 threat or 400 squad points. And same for this side as well. So it's going to be kind of an epic-sized game, but on a 3x3. So it's going to keep things really close, really bloody, and you're going to get into games almost like right off the bat. So there's a lot going on with this scenario in particular. So I think that I will save this for a future stream in which we'll kind of go over the gameplay and how it's all set up. But it does look very interesting, very fun. So So during, I guess I'll kind of describe a few of the little bits. So the capture intel bit, so during the system phase, up to one of the attacking team ships at range 1 of one of the vital intel markers. So you would have that kind of like set up over here in the corner, how you like. They may attempt to seize that marker if it rolls 1 attack dice plus 2 additional attack dice if that zone is compromised. And compromising a zone means that you control it. You have your ships in there and not none of your opponents. And then you're essentially going to advance across the board, try to secure the intel, try to attack with a given to steal intel markers, and the defending team is essentially attempting to like hold off the enemy fighters until the base goes into lockdown, which then secures all the assets. So one side is trying to get it across the board, secure all the assets, and the other side is trying to defend and stop them from doing so. So an extra kind of scenario that they have included here. I think that those epic play scenarios are certainly a lot of fun. They just add a lot of unique elements to your games of X-Wing in general. So you haven't tried those out, certainly can spice up your X-Wing play experience as you go. Cool. So let's say we can use a little bit of this extra time to talk about some points costs. We're going to be posting all those next week in time for the release of the Trident. We'll also update the squad builder as well. If you haven't seen already, we have set up a X-Wing rules forum, which we posted the link to on our social media channels. That is going to be the main source of information when it comes to new releases and their rules and tournament rulings for any of our products. That's going to be the main central focus. We've got some great moderators there that have been involved with the X-Wing community for years that are helping answer these questions and make sure that everything is addressed as we go forward. So if you were unaware of that, that is a resource that now exists and is available to you all to utilize. So let's see. I'll go back here through the chat and see some of the things that people had questions about in regards to points costs. You all get a little bit of an early preview here. I imagine like the crew are probably the thing that people are most interested in. So we'll start off with Asajj Ventress. That is a upgrade usable for the Separatists or the Scum, only usable on a huge ship, and that is going to be worth 8 points. After that, we've got General Grievous in his huge ship role. He's going to be 5. Hondo Anaka is going to be 7 points. Martuk is going to be 4 points, and Riff Tamsin is going to be 6. All right, let's see what else we got. Our Zealous Captain. I might as well just go through them all. A Zealous Captain is going to be 4 points for the huge ships. Those Tractor Tentacles are a free upgrade. They're just going to take up one of your hard point slots available to you. And for everybody's reference, that is what slots that both variants of the Trident, both for the Scum and the Separatists, come with. So you've got 1 command, 1 torpedo, 2 hard points, 2 crew, 1 gunner, 1 teams, 1 cargo, 1 title. So there's lots of things that you can take advantage of. Tractor Tentacles, as I mentioned before, were 0 points. The Drill Beak upgrade, which is a pretty nasty one for getting up close, that is going to be 4 points. Enhanced Propulsion, which is an upgrade that we did not have on the Trident in this turn, or in this particular game, which is definitely very cool for increasing its mobility, is going to be 6 points. That Proton Cannon Battery, which is usable by a number of other huge ships, and certainly something that I imagine some players are thinking about for their other huge ships, is going to be 10 points. Still, I think a pretty good price for the ability that thing bestows. Droid Crew going to be 5 points. Tractor Technicians 2 points. Corsair Crew 5 points. Grappler Title is going to be 3. Nautilin's Revenge 2 points. Nemoidian's Grasp is 5. That's another title there. The Trident title itself is going to be 4, and then those tracking torpedoes, as I mentioned before, are going to be 8 points. So if you want to take a look at any of these cards, you can check our social media channels. We posted all these cards up on the our social media channels, so you can certainly get good images of all of those in order to start to plan and think about how you might want to integrate the Trident into your own Separatist or Scum and Villainy squadrons as it comes up. So any other general questions? Let's see what else we got going on. Oh yeah, that's a good point. I totally forgot about that. That is the other benefit of the proton torpedoes, is I can change one of those things to a crit, which I had forgotten about. Yeah, there's lots of little things that I kind of glossed over when I'm focusing on the next turn and all the other stuff going on in this game. So yeah, appreciate the reminder there. I have been playing X-Wing for a fairly long time, but it's it kind of goes in peaks and valleys, and it's not something that I play constantly. So it's always a bit of a reminder thinking about all the subtle rules and nuances that we have in the game. So for the rest of this week, we have some more gameplay planned. We've got, as I mentioned before, we've got a game of MCP going on tomorrow. On Friday, there's going to be some Gathering Forces. We're going to try to get some more gameplay streams going on coming up too. So whenever we announce new products, we're going to try to get those things out on the table. I think that there's just right now, until we have our own website set up, we want to utilize these streams to be able to kind of convey information, mechanics, how a lot of these things operate, until we get back to a place where we're posting more articles with a little bit more substance and specifics about gameplay interactions and how these things actually function. So those will be forthcoming once we get our new website up and running. So certainly look forward to that in the future. I think with that, we're going to probably end this stream a little bit early this time around, because I don't really have a whole lot else to kind of discuss unless something kind of comes up in the chat that I can kind of answer. So I'll kind of give a few more minutes and we can kind of discuss some of those specifics. Now, when it comes to like gameplay specifics, I don't really have a whole lot of or development topics, like as far as like consider giving the CR90 to the Resistance, those sort of things. I can't really speak on that stuff, but I can certainly pass that on to the developers, and we can cover that stuff in a future stream once I get their insight as to how that is all going to be set up. Cool. Well, I think that is largely going to cover it. Thank you all. This is a little bit of a shorter stream than normal, but it still had a blast doing it. I hope that it gave you all some insight as to how the Trident is going to operate on the tabletop. Gives you a little bit of context for the scenario itself called Leviathan Hunt and how that is set up. I thought it was super fun. I played through it, let me see, I think 3 times now. Twice the Trident has smashed me, and twice I have smashed the Trident. So that seems like a decent ratio. I've tried a couple different squads against it. This one was kind of custom tailored to try to fight it and seemed to be pretty optimized for it in a lot of ways. I'm sure there are some better options available to you, but the general strategy here was to utilize Asajj Ventress's ship ability to keep putting stress on the Trident to try to diminish its overall number of energy that it has every turn, because every time it suffers a stress, it loses an energy as opposed to losing an action or the ability to do actions until you don't have any stress left, and then it can actually take a stress token. All the Mining Guild choices were largely selected because they can ignore those asteroids, and they can move out in the first stage of the scenario to be able to move up and claim those objective tokens in the game that actually makes the Trident spawn. If you missed the first part and don't quite understand the context, make sure to check out the previous stream from last Friday. That will go through the first part of the scenario, as this is a 2-parter. Lee Mackay was largely set up just to be a good striker. Her pilot ability is very good against a game where you only have one enemy ship. If you just stay out of its front arc, you can get target locks in there for not much of an overall cost. Ahab is a star in this particular scenario, as he always rolls extra dice against ships with a larger base than he does, both on attack and defense. So I think that this particular squad was set up pretty well to battle the Trident. I'm sure that you have your own ideas about what you would want to take to face this tentacled beast. But until next time, thank you all for joining me once again. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific with some Marvel Crisis Protocol gameplay, and back on Friday with some Legion gameplay as well. So until then, take care, and I'll talk to you all later.